Hey Deckers, Liam here. I've been checking out RoboCop Rogue City thanks to KeyMailer sending over a copy for me. Now, this is from developer Taeyeon and publisher Nacon, and it puts you in the shoes of the legendary part man, part machine, all cop. It's RoboCop. Now, I'm a huge fan of this world. I've seen everything there is on it, and I couldn't wait to dive into this one. And it is a lot of fun if you stick with it. Not just for nostalgia though, overall it's just generally a fun time. I'm here to answer the question, of course, on Steam Deck support specifically though. I've been doing my testing across SteamOS 3.5.8 preview, where I dumped a bunch of hours into it to see what's up. Now the good news is that Valve already tested it and they gave it a Steam Deck playable rating. The biggest issue that they noted was that some text is a little bit too small, and it is a bit of a problem. Not massively so, but sadly as well, there are basically no accessibility options to increase it either. So here we are at the end of 2023, where games are somehow still being released without such basic accessibility options to increase text size and interface sizing. We're going to be fighting that one basically forever, I think. Now, going into it, you need to understand RoboCop Rogue City is not a fast-paced shooter. It's far from it. It's nothing like other shooters because you're basically a walking tank. The game is slow. Even your ability to run is quite sluggish because you are this really heavy machine man. It's retro feeling in quite a number of ways as well. It doesn't really feel like a modern shooter. And you feel like basically you're taking part in a really old action movie in a way. Now, it's not exactly the most exciting or even remotely unique shooter around. In fact, personally, I wouldn't even put it particularly high on my list. But if you want a shooter where you just get to stomp all over your enemies for a few hours, it's good fun in that respect. Now, the slowness of it is probably a good thing for the aging gamer, I would say as well, and for all the people that sort of grow up with RoboCop, and for those who find the ridiculous pace of some newer shooters a bit too much. Like anytime I see footage of Fortnite with the speed that people build in it, it gets my head dizzy. And since I have the aim of a potato, I quite enjoyed easily smashing through everyone and everything that was in my way with a few different weapons in RoboCop. The important thing for Steam Deck players though is of course performance. Now when you first load the game, it will ask you to auto-detect the settings. I would say let it do it because for the most part that is okay. On Steam Deck, it ends up giving you FSR 2.2 on quality with most settings on low, but it puts the reflection method on Lumen, which is part of Unreal Engine 5. It also defaults to Chromatic Aberration on and Motion Blur on. I turn them off whenever I can because I don't particularly like either. A few changes that you can do to give you a better experience though. The first is changing FSR 2.2 to balanced, swapping the reflection method from Lumen to SSR, and then you can bump up the textures to high and you get a reasonably good looking game, but much better performance. Still though, it's quite a heavy game, and with the performance it can be kind of all over the place depending on what's happening. At times there can be quite a few explosions. There's some world destruction that can bring down the frame rate as well. So even though the performance is a little bit on the rough side at times, because of the really quite slow pace of the game, it's actually still surprisingly enjoyable. It gets better over time as well when you go through the level up system in the game. Although that side of it is very basic, you're just gaining XP, gaining experience points, and then putting those points into different features to give you skills. Some of those skills can be pretty fun though, like being able to bounce bullets around enemies behind cover, ramming into enemies, stunning them, slow motion, and more. Now, RoboCop does have a mixture of open world exploration, and generally the performance there is okay, except you can get a few hiccups when you're running through areas. Even though it does have sort of open world exploration, it's quite contained and it's reasonably linear in just the general experience. There's not much in the way of you being able to do things differently, and most of the missions are simply entering in somewhere, causing some absolute chaos, and then moving on to the next bit. The game does have a bit of a habit of crashing now and then. This is when you are swapping between areas like leaving or entering a building, but that is even true on Windows PCs as well from all the reports from players that I've seen. Although in my playthrough it has only happened twice, so it's about as stable as you can expect for the game overall on Steam Deck. Really, RoboCop is a game for those of you who like slower paced shooters. You'll probably get on quite well with this one if you do. It's slow, it's pretty retro, but overall, it is really enjoyable just to be able to just smash through everyone. And it works well enough on Steam Deck that you can just turn off the performance monitor and just game away. That's it for this one. I'll see you later.